Hi there, good morning. We are back again with another episode of Paul's Palette, and today we'll talk about this work which is there in the collection, and it's a painting by Lado Bhai, who's a Bhil artist from Jhabua who now lives in Bhopal. Welcome back, and today we are going to talk about this particular work, which is an untitled work by Lado Bhai. And Lado Bhai is a Bhil artist and comes from a place called Jhabua in Madhya Pradesh. She, of course, now lives and works in Bhopal. Lado Bhai is counted amongst one of the top two Bhil artists of today, the other one being Bhuri Bhai. And Bhuri Bhai and Lado Bhai both work together, and they also are friends, and they've been, known to, share ideas and things like that. Bhuri Bhai's style is slightly different. Her forms and shapes are far more precise. Lado Bhai has a very childlike quality in them. The backstory on people like Lado Bhai is just too fascinating not to be mentioned here. Lado Bhai, was born in this village very close to Jhabua and comes from a Bhil tribe. As you know, the Bhils are probably the second largest tribe of central India and hark back to the famous episode of Eklavya and Dronacharya. So they actually even today have a archery competition in which the archers tie their thumb and then shoot arrows in the competition. Lado came from a very, very poor family and actually came to Bhopal as a construction laborer in the building of the famous and iconic Bharat Bhavan. And while she was living in Bhopal as a construction laborer, she used to doodle around with pen and paper, but her financial constraints did not allow her to, create any kind of art that was meaningful. But she obviously had that childlike desire to work with art. And Bhil art is very, very simplistic. It's animist, it's nature, and of course it represents their god Pithora, and Pithora's spiritual and other divine acts. So Lado Bhai's paintings, if you see even today, despite her years of now being a formal painter, is still very childlike, as you can see. In fact, if you actually saw this from close, you would see a lot of pencil marks where she has attempted to try and create a template before she started painting. And these dots are very characteristic Lado Bhai. And this is a typical village scene where they are, some of them are going hunting, some of them are, dancing in the village festival. There is a representation of some animals and birds. And I just got fascinated by the sheer childlike simplicity, and therefore I bought this. Lado Bhai, of course, has now living in Bhopal and working at the Adivasi, Lok Kala Academy, and owes that to, again, the famous Jagdish Swaminathan, who discovered her and encouraged her to paint at the Adivasi Lok Kala Academy. Where she did a lot of her work. She has been internationally felicitated, showcased in many shows, and her work is part of many collections both in India and overseas. So, an untitled work by Lado Bhai. So, people ask me about tribal art in general, and it's a very strange, perspective. To my mind, this concept of tribal art sometimes tends to, sound a little patronizing. But I feel that it's essentially community art forms where people draw on muscle memory, years and years of practice as a community, their myths, their legends, their beliefs, their worship systems, and gods, goddesses, and their very, very intimate connection to nature, and how they draw from that in some consistent ritualistic patterns. So, to my mind, I would say community art forms is probably a broader and more representative term. In India, you could have community art forms all across the country. In fact, most of our traditional art forms fall in that category of community art forms because of the many stories that they attempt to tell through their art. Now, in central India, the Gond are the biggest tribe, and of course have had a head start with when it comes to art and its commercial sale and availability. The Bhil tribes have been a little late on the show, and yet they are, to my mind, equally fascinating and representative with their stories, with their painting techniques, and their availability, of course, is still limited in the sense that there are few galleries, few places where you can actually acquire these works. Most of my works are acquired across the country. Interestingly, Delhi from the Ojas Art Gallery, including this work, which is from the Ojas Art Gallery, and of course in Kochi, the OED Art Gallery of Dilip. And of course now, as this art becomes more mainstream and is getting priced higher and higher, I think it is starting making sense for more of commercial art galleries to stock and sell, or at least bring forth in their auctions. So look around. There are shows that happen. There's the tribes and organization that used to showcase a lot of these art forms. There are Dastakar shows which showcase some of these art forms, and of course there are more and more galleries now bringing and patronizing and showcasing them. So that is something that I would certainly urge you to look around and start to acquire.